Hello and welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to be looking at a gaming Harry video. This is the terrifying story of Still Wakes the Deep. We're in spooky month right now and I'm not dressed particularly spooky because it's really cold right now in my house. So I'm dressed comfy cozy today. I'm dressed still in a fall theme, but I'm really chilly, so we're not doing all the spooks today. But I'm still looking forward to this video. I'm still looking for spooky things to watch and react to for the month. Before I get going, I did want to give a shout out to some of our channel members. It's been a while since I've done a member's shout out. So thank you to Night Hoarder. Thank you to TSS Privacy Policy, TSS. Thank you to Eric Mann, Ray Webb, Porcupine, and 24 Idiots. Appreciate all of the help there, the support for the channel. It allows me to do things like, for instance, I just watched 1408. It allows me to bring in other people to pay them so they'll watch stuff with me. It lets me watch things like movies like that. Because, you know, I had to buy that one. It was a whole $5 to buy that movie. So we appreciate you, channel members. If you are looking to be a channel member, you can join us below. Or if you want to get a lot more anime content, you can pop over to the Patreon. That is where the anime stuff tends to live. Here you're getting a lot of early content. You have a couple of extra things, mostly Dragon Ball Z stuff. Mostly Dragon Ball Z like movies and stuff that I couldn't post for whatever reason. But yeah, and if you cannot afford it at the moment, just leave a like, comment, subscribe. All of those things are incredibly helpful. And now, without any further ado, let us figure out what is happening of Still Wakes the Deep. I don't know what this is. I'm assuming it's a game. That is about as far as I've gotten, is the assumption that this is in fact a video game. Let's go.
Ever since watching Amazon's The Rig, I've been desperate for a horror game. Ever since watching Amazon's The Rig, I've been desperate for a horror game set on an oil rig. Well, The Chinese Room delivered, and then this one will be diving into a horror game set on an oil rig, Still Wakes the Deep. First off, a massive thank you to The Chinese Room and the Guillotine Agency for sending me an early code for this game. Still Wakes the Deep is a narrative horror experience set on an oil rig off the coast of Scotland in 1975. According to the dev diaries, the developers for this game took inspiration from various pieces of UK media, including the bleak, foggy 1983 film Local Hero, also set in Scotland. There are also obvious inspirations taken from John Carpenter's 1982 horror movie The Thing. There's not much more I need to say about the game itself, so we'll just go ahead and dive in.
I mean, I'm gonna get some Balrog things, I think, just based on the fact that it's an oil rig, you're digging deep, the dwarf stuck too greedily and too deep, you know, who knows what they've awakened. Balrogs or something.
Oh, and because this game has only recently released, I need to warn you that there'll be spoilers in this video for Still Wakes the Deep.
I don't
Let's
care.
begin.
If you care, there are spoilers.
It's December 1975 off the coast of Aberdeen, and Cameron McCleary, aka Kaz, is sat in his room after having received a rather heavy letter from his wife Suze. She's talking about him running away from something on the mainland, some kind of mess that he got himself into, and she's talking of leaving him. Kaz is an electrician, and he's working on Qadar Oil's Berra oil rig. Someone knocks on Kaz's door and tells him that breakfast is being served. On the way, Kaz talks to his friend, an engineer named Finley. She says that the oil rig isn't in great shape, and Qadar have basically neglected it and pipes are leaking. One worker, O'Connor's room, is basically uninhabitable. Conditions on the rig are that bad that a union representative on board, Trots, who represents the North Sea Oil Workers Union, has raised numerous safety grievances against Qadar that have all been ignored. Also,
okay, so maybe we're getting some Outlast vibes up in here too. Ooh.
Since it's near to Christmas, a lot of the workers on the rig have gone back to shore, so the rig is operating with a skeleton crew until the other workers come back. The remaining workers would entertain themselves, engaging in activities such as a darts tournament. In the canteen, Kaz speaks with various crew members such as Trots, Gibbo, O'Connor, Brody, and a young lad called Rafs, who is scheduled to go on his first dive inside the dive bell. He's extremely nervous. Kaz also speaks with someone that pretty much everyone dislikes, Adair. He is a supporter of the National Front. If you're not aware, the National Front is a far-right fascist political party in the UK. The National Front rejected being known as fascists, since they took part in elections, but their beliefs and policies were rooted in nationalism, white supremacy, anti-Semitism, and anti-immigration attitudes.
Yeah, but it's like I can't be a fascist if I do elections like that. Not sure that's correct. All right. So betting the fascist guy is gonna survive for a lot of the game, and it will be really cathartic when he dies.
But let's have a look at what's happening in Scotland at this time. In Scotland, the 70s were a bleak time. The economy was shrinking, unemployment was rising, and inflation was an issue too. It was made worse in 1973 when the Conservative UK government decided against stepping in to prevent one of the largest shipyards in Scotland closing down. This only added to Scotland's ever-increasing problem with unemployment. This issue ended up getting...
I was not expecting to get, like, history in this video at all, so... kudos for Harry.
Resolved, and the shipyard remained open. However, darker times were ahead. The UK government then introduced a 3-day week policy, and this was to conserve energy, specifically electric. The UK couldn't generate enough power to meet the demand, and there was an oil crisis which was affecting most of the West. And this coincided with miners' strikes as they wanted more pay. But things were about to change for the better. Oil was discovered in the North Sea, and this meant a brighter future for the UK as a whole. But this led to tensions between Scotland and the rest of the UK, as the Scottish National Party, then a fringe political movement, believed that the financial benefits from this oil wouldn't reach Scotland at all, not whilst Scotland was part of the UK.
Well, I mean, that's, that does actually track. I'm all for Scottish independence, honestly. Like, if they want it, and it seems like a lot of, they seem to be kind of split on it most of the time when the votes come out, but like I feel like everyone I've ever talked to wants Scotland to not have to be part of the UK anymore. So I'm all for that. Especially because England, when it their treatment of like Scotland and Ireland tends to not be great.
Since Scotland was not a sovereign state, they couldn't claim the oil was their own. So the SNP started the movement It's Scotland's Oil. This is something that Trotz refers to here.
There's no escaping. There's going to be a dozen more rigs up here by the end of next year because they pricks in Westminster want their grubby wee hands on Scotland's oil.
Christ, not this again.
The bear is already down to the bare bones.
This campaign worked in favour of the SNP as the political party grew and won 11 seats in Parliament as opposed to their 1 in the previous election. This ultimately led to a referendum vote in 1979 on Scottish independence from the UK, but this did not pass, with 51% of Scots voting to remain to be part of the UK. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Back to 1975. Speaking with Roy, the rig's chef, who is Kaz's friend, Kaz hears the rig's foreman, Davy Rennick, calling him over the rig's intercom. He wants to speak with Kaz, and it sounds...
So we got baked beans, we got a bunch of really huge sunny side up eggs. Those eggs are massive. Look how huge those yolks are. And then some kind of melted green ice cream, it looks like, is what's happening. So roast beans, huge eggs, nasty green junk. Anyway, all right.
Urgent. Before leaving, Kaz speaks with Roy and tells him that Suze is thinking about divorcing him. Kaz is worried that she'll actually divorce him if he goes to jail. So basically, Kaz assaulted someone called Billy Chamberlain outside a pub and put the guy in hospital after he insulted Suze. Roy had arranged a job on the rig for Kaz as an electrician in order to give him some time to lay low. Suze objected, but Kaz went anyway. Heading out onto the deck, Kaz speaks with Roper, who tells Kaz they are having some trouble with the drill. But Kaz gets to Rennick's office.
Enter!
Enter!
Ah, Mr. McClary. So glad you could join me, and sorry to have got you out of bed.
I was up.
Shut the door and have a seat.
We were up.
I'm fine, Stan.
Sit your arse in that chair, you fucking liability.
But I
run a tight ship. Do you understand me? A tight ship.
Technically, it's no shit.
Shut your gob, you Ned prick!
Oh.
I am sick to fucking bouking of you wee gobshites messing with my operation. That chef might be a mate of yours, but he does not run things around here. I do. Do you understand me?
All right,
Why are you so mad at me?
Don't you answer me back! You might be the height of shite on shore, McClary, But out here, I am the fucking king. Do you understand me?
He's gonna die too.
You bring the police to my door,
Oh, that's why he's mad.
to my rig.
Look, I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Shut it, you clatty gobshite. I've got here some Abba who can make a more positive contribution to this operation than you.
Look, I know...
Shut it! I'm in a meeting. What? Fuck's sake, Gibbo, I don't care. We're on a schedule. It's a fucking drill. You've got a fucking drill, so drill through it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this sounds like bad.
He's a whiny old fud. He's got a problem with everything.
This guy's a jerk.
I don't care if it feels off. Just fucking do it! Or I'll come down there myself.
Yeah, maybe you should. Oh my god. Bosses like this suck. It's just like, maybe listen to the people who are actually doing the job. You're sitting here in your wet office.
Trouble with the missus?
You're fired. You hear me? Fired.
Come on, man. It's only a wee bit of trouble with the polish. I'm good with the lecky. I keep things running. You said it yourself.
Out! Get off my rig!
After that, Kaz needs to board the chopper and leave the rig, but approaching the helipad...
Yup. Nothing good.
Gregor! Gregor!
Get away from the edge!
Oh god.
Help me!
Oh god.
I don't want to die!
How are you gonna get him?
Jesus, just hang on! Fuck! Fuck!
Your turn.
Kaz is fished from the water by his colleagues, but they say
That's
they
lucky.
found no sign of Gregor. They warm him up next to a heater. Waking up and heading outside, complaining of a headache, Kaz hears an almighty racket. Rafs, who was down in the diving bell when something went wrong with the drill, has been pulled up and is still inside the bell and sounding very distressed.
Oh, God.
Brody needs help getting Rafs out, so Kaz secures the dive bell so Brody can get him out. Brody says the drill hit an air pocket and it seems like something exploded.
That's
Brody
not
tells
good.
Kaz to head through engineering, but needs to go underneath the rig. Using the walkways, which are crumbling and falling apart, Kaz sees the drill.
What? Why is it an alien? Why is the drill an alien? What?
When you can, then you get close to that. Come back and see.
What?
Kaz, get over here before it falls apart.
The visuals in this game seem really interesting. Like he's got that like burning sort of visual thing that's happening again. It happened in the flashback. It's happening here. Unless that's a watermark? Unless it's just something that Gaming Harry's doing.
Meet me inside.
Jesus. What is this stuff?
Trying to process what it is that he's just seen, Kaz crosses the perilous structure and makes it inside and into engineering. He's in one of the rig's legs, leg C, and ascending, he manages to find a torch.
Good.
Moving through
He's
this
gonna need
section,
that.
Kaz hears something that he really wishes he hadn't.
Fuck is that?
He speaks with Finley.
I mean, I would definitely initially just be like, it's just, I would assure myself by assuring myself it's the pipes. It's the pipes. Like there was a weird explosion. Things are groaning and complaining. Pipes do it. Like, you know, just like, it's okay. It's fine.
She says that the person making all this noise is Gibbo. Finley has seen Gibbo and she wouldn't recommend finding him. He got something on him after the explosion and tried to attack Finley. She says that in order to get back to the accommodation area, Kaz needs to go through the water tanks.
Why isn't
Kaz
she coming?
spots something in a control
Why isn't she coming with you? Why is she still there?
room. A mess of remains and a fleshy substance with tendrils coming off of it. And moving on, Kaz sees Gibbo's shadow. He later hears him screaming and shouting, and reaching the water tanks, Kaz gets a glimpse of Gibbo. Yeah, he's not right at all. Kaz then finds Douglas dead.
Okay, so now we're like delving into like Resident Evil then, like when they transform into like, you know, in like Village or whatever. Not Village. The seventh the seventh one, with in the bayou where they like transform into those like bulbous creatures.
Dead. He pushes on and makes it to accommodation. Warming up by a heater, Kaz answers a phone. It's O'Connor, and he's with 2 colleagues. He says that something's wrong in engineering and it's not safe, and then the line cuts off. There are
Great.
growths on the rig now, and whatever this stuff is, it seems to be spreading. In the crew lounge, Kaz sees a bright light.
Trots?
This again.
Trots, is that you? Can't hear you, man. Open the door. Trots, the door's blocked. I can't get to you. What's up, wee man? Are you hurt? Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
Jesus, Trots! Trots!
The light then fades and everything goes quiet. In the canteen's kitchen, Kaz speaks with Roy. Roy's absolutely terrified, and he says he's going to stay there in the pantry.
Yeah,
Kaz
makes
is going to
sense.
head out onto the
For now,
deck
yeah.
and see if there's a lifeboat available. It's not long until Kaz sees another horrific sight.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, there's got some wonky stuff is happening. Oh my God. Yikes. Ew, there's so many bits and bobs. Trying to think. It's giving that Girl in the Fireplace episode of Doctor Who where like the robots were using crew members to like fix the ship. So they were like tearing eyes out to put in and make cameras and kind of stuff because they didn't know how they were. And like there was just like there's like beating hearts like in the walls. It was kind of I mean it was done in a very not gruesome way, I guess, but definitely still creepy. Also, I'm getting like the part of the ship, part of the crew, part of the ship, part of the crew.
When he's near the strange growths, Kaz's head starts to hurt. Outside,
God.
Kaz sees a
So
lifeboat,
nasty.
but it's out of action as it has a massive hole in its underside.
Great.
Kaz hears Davy Rennick telling workers that they'll be back to work shortly. He finds a usable lifeboat, but as he prepares it into the boarding position, the lines give out and the lifeboat falls into the sea. A call
Bye.
from Rennick sees him inform Kaz that there's a chopper on the helipad, ready to leave, and he tells Kaz to bring anyone that's alive with him. Kaz
Okay.
heads back through the laundry and sees Trots. He's seemingly attracted by a bright light inside a washing machine. He's in a terrible state, part of some sort of biomass, and Kaz has to sneak around him. And after a tense chase, he escapes Trots. Speaking with Roy again, he says that he won't be able to make it across the deck to the chopper. Roy's a diabetic and needs his insulin. Kaz says he'll go to the helipad and make sure Rennick doesn't leave without Roy. Outside,
Okay.
a thick fog is enveloping the rig.
Okay, so is he like, so that's unfortunate for Roy that he's, he needs it right now. He can't make a quick fix. I don't know very much about diabetes, but I know sometimes people will like have like a quick sweet or they'll like have something else to like adjust their blood sugar real quick so that they can get to where they can get their insulin.
Kaz hears a groaning sound and speaks with an absolutely terrified Innes, who is being stalked by what used to be, but still kind of is, Muir. Sneaking round Muir, Kaz and Innes make it to the lift, but Innes is taken by the monster.
Oh, no.
Heading towards the helipad, Kaz overhears that Rennick wants to take off now, leaving
he
everyone
does.
else there on the rig.
'Cause he's an asshole.
arguing with the pilot, who says that they can't just leave everyone there. Kaz tries to get them to stay, but he's too late. The chopper takes off, but in what seems to be a struggle in the cockpit, the helicopter crashes into the rig.
Oh my God. Love that I flinched. I was like, as if it was coming at me. Oh my God. I'm so jumpy. All right. Yep. I knew that asshole manager guy was gonna die. Like, fuck you. It sucks about the pilot though.
After being knocked out, Kaz has a flashback of a conversation he and Suze had before he left. Thinking he's losing his mind, Kaz needs to get back inside the rig. In Rennick's office, he discovers a letter from Strathclyde Police regarding the assault on Billy Chamberlain 4 months ago, and that's how Rennick found out about Kaz's misdemeanor. A phone call from Brody sees him tell Kaz to get to the radio room and call the support ship. The generators need restarting, so, you guessed it, Kaz needs
Great.
to descend into engineering again.
I love that it's always, I mean, like, I understand why it's the player character that always has to do all of the fetch quests or whatever. It's like, no, you have to go here, now you have to go here, now you have to go here, and then there, and then back to over here again. But it's like, sometimes it would be in real life, you could bring someone with you. So sometimes I understand like not wanting to animate like the other character and like have the model have to be there because like it can get a little janky. Like there's bits in like The Last of Us or whatever where like Ellie is just like all up in your girl. She's just there constantly. It's like, get out of my way. But like I think, and like sometimes, you know, I wish they did more like co-op games and stuff, like what they did with like RE5. Like it's like two people play because it makes sense that you'd be able to bring another expert with you, you know. Anyway, just a little. It's not really a gripe about how video games are made because obviously I can't make video games and I can barely play them, but I do think sometimes it's like unless they like write in a reason for a character who is the expert at it. You're here for the electrician stuff, not the mechanic stuff. So it's like those are different. So it's like bring your mechanic friend with you to do the mechanic thing, unless the mechanic has to stay at a very specific place to like pull a lever. You know, they have to, yeah, things have to be done in a timely sequence, and so you need them where they're at, you know? But write that into the story. That's all.
On the way, though,
Jesus fucking Christ!
after being chased by what appears to be Davy Rennick, Kaz heads outside and climbs up the chopper, which is perilously hanging. Inside, Kaz is in engineering and speaks with Finley again. After resetting the protective relay, Finley says that this hasn't restarted the generators, so they need to be restarted manually. Only problem is, there's more shrieking coming from where the generators are. Heading there,
All right, so it looks like they did, in fact, have a reason because they have Finlay monitoring the situation, which is why Finlay didn't go. Okay. Anyway, just brushing past that horrible thing.
growth overtaking the rig seems to be glowing brightly, and careful to avoid it, Kaz makes it to the generator room and sees and hears what's left of Adair. Throwing things in order to create a distraction, Kaz enters into the control room and grabs a key for the
I'm just so distracted by like what looks like the Cubs logo here. Like, it just does. Every time they use this like double C. Like Cubs. Oh my gosh. See? Like it's like this thing. So it's like I know that the Cubs logo has the full circle and like these don't really have the full circle, but it still gives me the vibe.
generator. Heading back out, he starts the generator and once again has to avoid
It's also like giving capsule corp.
Adair whilst making his way out and his way back to the protective relay. He makes it back inside the control hut and turns the power on, and Adair leaves. But Brody calls and it seems
So
that
do
they
these like ex-crewmates know what's going on with them, or are they like are they fully are they kind of in control or not? Like are they trying to lure him so that he can become part of it by asking for help, or do they think that he could help them?
have a new problem. The rig is slowly sinking. Brody needs Kaz to go down to the pontoons. The pontoons are basically structures that provide buoyancy on deep-sea oil drilling platforms. They get partially flooded and submerged under the surface so that the rig isn't rocking and swaying along with the rough seas. They need to engage the tension winches, so Kaz heads to the pontoons. Making his way down leg A, being careful not to fall to his death, Kaz engages one of the tension winches. And just one more to go, the tension winch in leg B. Crossing or swimming over to leg B, Kaz starts to hear voices. Suze's voice. Bodies are everywhere too. Kaz almost drowns as the water level begins to rise in the pontoons, but somehow he manages to make it to safety. He sees another of his friends, O'Connor. He's being assimilated into whatever this growth is and is calling out for someone named Mary. The tendrils try to grab Kaz, but he manages to get away. Making it to leg B and engaging the winch, Kaz takes the elevator back up to the top.
Wow.
Looking round, he sees that this thing, whatever it is taking control of the rig. He seems to be slightly awed by its beauty.
So I wonder, is this one of those like is this like is the point is that there's an environmental message here of like stop drilling, like you don't need the oil or whatever. But I don't know if maybe that was the point of the game.
Freezing cold, Kaz is now back in accommodation. Warming up by a heater, he uses the phone and speaks with Roy, who is getting worse as he needs his insulin. Kaz sees and feels an explosion in the distance and tells Roy to try to get to the cabins out on the deck. Outside, Kaz sees the growth is now completely engulfing the derrick, but he also sees oil coming from the derrick. One spark and the whole rig could blow up. As he passes close to the derrick where the first growth came from, Kaz hears more voices. Making his way across the deck, he sees and speaks with Brody. There's another issue. It's the flare stack. The flare stack is basically there to stabilize pressure and flow from a well through controlled burning.
It's on fire.
Problem is that the
That's
stack's
bad.
main feed is ruptured, and this means that it's burning out. It could spread to the derrick and cause an explosion. Brody has an idea to switch the flare onto the auxiliary gas pipe, but of course, Kaz needs to go do it.
Of course.
Kaz needs to find the diverter valve. Heading through the processing quad, Kaz's old pal
And again, that sounds like he needs to do it so that the other guy can then push the other button. So, you know.
Adair shows up. Sneaking round the monstrosity, Kaz diverts the feed to the auxiliary and heads across the stack to light the auxiliary feed manually.
You know what would be kind of cool? If they did more games where it's like Resident Evil 2 did, where again, I keep comparing things to Resident Evil today, but like where you can play as either Leon or Claire, and like depending on what you do with because you're coming from different sides that in that game, from my vague recollection of playing through an hour of it, you're coming from different sides. So it's like if Leon takes the giant magazine, or if he takes like the bigger backpack, then it's not there for Claire when she gets to that same location. It would be interesting to play more games like that, where it's like you can choose different people or different storylines to do, and like you have another character. So it's like you go and do this thing, and this other character goes and does this thing. But you can like choose to send them on one quest or the other, and then you'll get different gameplays out of it. And I think that would add to some like replayability for a lot of games too, because it's not just the same thing over and over again. You can send other people to do other tasks, and you know, like their task will, you know, more or less succeed. You know, then they'll have to do the next thing. But I think that could be interesting. Like depending on the gameplay that you do, you might get just a totally different experience. Like maybe you have to do more stealth stuff. Maybe you have to do more like, you know, come around swinging. Like I think that could be interesting. I don't know.
He gets chased by Adair, and with the creature climbing the structure, Kaz launches the flare and kills Adair. But more importantly, the stack is lit. Unfortunately, the stack is collapsing, and Kaz doesn't make it to the end of the stack. After being knocked out and after another flashback to an argument he had with Suze, Kaz comes to. Finding himself on the underside of the rig, Kaz makes his way inside, and on the way sees the state of the drill. He continues to hear Suze's voice, terrified of what this stuff is doing to him. He also sees the remnants of rafts in the dive bell, and this stuff had affected him too. In engineering again, Kaz speaks with a very surprised Finley and Brody, who both thought for sure that Kaz was dead. Anyway, there's a new plan.
Not yet.
Brody will dive down and release the tension cable so they can float the rig, and hopefully this will balance the rig out. Kaz and Finley need to go to marine control.
Okay.
They
Well, see, okay, good. See, we're getting there. Like we're splitting the forces. Someone's gonna go do one thing. Other people are gonna do another thing. I like it. That's what I literally just got finished saying.
Roy over the intercom. He's in even worse shape now.
Oh, poor
he made it
boy.
to the cabin on the roof of accommodation.
He had nothing. Like why did he have nothing with him? Like, ugh, that really sucks. I mean, I've known people, and like they've found themselves in a situation like that where they are they're diabetic, and they realized too late that they didn't have, or they didn't realize until they were like basically passed out that they needed XYZ. Sometimes you get busy, but like I don't know, I feel like I don't know, I'm not gonna judge him. I've seen people who get into a situation they don't realize they're in. It's and this is just the worst time for that to happen. That sucks for Roy.
Kaz wants to go and help Roy, but Brody insists that he needs them in marine control. Kaz heads towards accommodation in order to find Roy's insulin, but he needs to do some more swimming. Having a leisurely swim through the ruins of the engineering sections, Kaz ends up back in accommodation. In what was the crew lounge, Well,
Okay.
the side of it is now completely gone.
Okay, so that explains that. See, why do I pause? Every single time I do, it just explains it. He had it. He didn't think he needed it on him. He thought he'd be able to go back to his room at any time if he needed it. That makes perfect sense. I'm so stupid.
Using the vents moving around the corpses of his former colleagues, he has to avoid his friend Trots, who chases Kaz through the vents. Kaz finds Roy's insulin in his room, and upon leaving, Trots is eventually killed by falling debris. Now to head outside to the cabin and to help Roy. The
Bye,
growth,
Trots.
whatever it is now even bigger. Kaz enters the cabin and finds Roy there. Unfortunately, he's fallen unconscious and has passed away. After mourning his friend, he speaks with Finley on the phone.
That
She tells
sucks.
Kaz that she couldn't get to Marine Control, so Kaz
course she
needs to
couldn't.
get there from where he is. Crossing more perilous structures that are falling apart, Kaz makes it into Marine Control and finds a colleague there, fighting to retain his sanity. It's the drilling foreman Roper, who Kaz had spoke with only hours earlier. Taking the key off Roper, he appears to be trying to help Kaz and tells him to keep Rennick away. Kaz needs to flood the forward pontoon, but is
Rennick.
concerned that this action could cause oil and gas to be pushed up to the deck, and is concerned that Brody is still down there. But Finley told Kaz that Brody would be out of there by now. Kaz then floods the forward pontoon to the
hopes.
brim, and this actually works as the rig levels out. Finley tells
good.
Kaz to meet her and Brody in drill ops. Leaving, whatever it is that has engulfed Roper tries to attack Kaz, but he leaves the area. Kaz is still hearing Suze's voice louder than ever now. Water
It's really
rushes
not
into
good.
where Kaz is and he's carried down the hallways but surfaces. He hears loud banging noises, and the place continues to flood with water. He continues to see grotesque abominations that used to be his friends.
Oh,
Kaz is
God.
eventually chased by Davy Rennick, but underwater, Rennick drowns and Kaz is able to escape.
Bye,
Heading
Rennick.
into drill ops, he finds Finley there, but no Brody.
What's going on? Who are you talking to?
Kaz, you made it.
Brody, what's wrong with Finley? She's freaked out here.
Listen, Kaz. There's no much time.
I got him.
There's oil and gas getting in here. When it fills, it will be headed right up the drill pipe.
What are you on about?
I'm still in the pontoons. I've only got a couple of minutes.
Oof.
I can't stop it. The rig's a time bomb now. You understand? One spark and... You need to find a way off.
Just get back up here and we'll work it out, yeah?
I can't do that.
What?
I can't get back up.
Wait, no, wait.
I'm sorry.
Wait, listen.
You're on your own now.
I'll come to you. All right?
No, you won't. You wouldn't even
Don't
get
have
halfway to
time.
me.
You don't have time.
The
That
leg's flooded
sucks.
and the gas. It's no possible.
You got your dive gear?
Aye, but
So you can use that?
it's oil, Kaz. There's nothing to be done.
Fucking say that.
I knew the risk when I came down here.
Ugh.
Fuck. Can he lose you as well?
See, I think again, if you have like the multiple options here, it's like there's a possibility. I think there should be a possibility if, as the player character, to get out. But then like your other friend would have to die to Rennick or whatever. Like, because I think that like you still have to have the people survive who survive. I don't know how many different actual endings you can get, how many survivors, because I've seen that done a few times where it's like, yeah, you can in fact have different people survive it. Like when you just, but that usually happens in games where you can play as multiple different characters at multiple different times. Like Until Dawn or something, where like you switch between different players, like different characters, and you can have everybody survive or you can have no one survive, you know, and there's like a huge difference. So it's like, I don't know. I think that it could be done in a game like this where it's like you go and do different things and like you can change the gameplay and like you can see different parts of the ship. You know, each character has like a different set of skills kind of thing, and so some of them are better at other. I think that could be done.
Listen, I'm all right, Kaz. I'm already back on Sky. You've never seen water like that, Kaz. Clear, peaceful. You just let go, and
Sorry, Brody.
everything's fine.
That sounds beautiful.
You go one day. All right?
No, fuck that. I'm never swimming again after this.
Kaz, Kaz, you and Finley, you could do this, alright? I'm sure she wouldn't do something so stupid.
Rory, you there?
Kaz?
What's stupid? Talk to me.
It's getting higher.
Alright, I'm here, Roddy.
Oh,
I'm not going
God.
anywhere. Alright, I'm here. Roddy. Oh, fuck. Roddy. Jesus.
So sad. That's well done. That was well done. Like his you can see his hand like shaking on the the animation. Great job. Good job story. Like I don't even know this guy and I'm like, oh.
How's this happening? What are we doing now, Finley?
Doesn't fucking matter.
He's dead and you don't think that matters.
He was always gonna die. Always,
Damn, Finley.
Always. You see that?
No.
Fucking about with the lakey and pontoons. And without a hope of hell. Watching our pals turn into monsters. Never
Okay, Finley.
once.
Finley, come on, shake it
Never
off.
Fucking once have we tried to do what needed to be done.
Oh, she's gonna
Alright, what do you mean?
set it.
I'm ending this. Fucking
Finley. No. Come back.
I mean,
Finley!
I feel like she might be
Runs off with
right.
the lighter, sensing that they only have one option left: to destroy the rig and the thing on it. Chasing her across the rig, Kaz sees that Finley has been crushed by a falling beam. Kaz understands what he needs to do. He takes the lighter and walks into the derrick. He sees more of the growths. It appears to be a living, breathing entity with a heartbeat. Kaz then drops the lighter into the depths. As expected, the flames quickly rise up the drill pipe and the rig blows up. Of all the people of the Bearer D, no one survived. Kaz then moves towards a light, reminiscing about how he met Suze, how they fell in love and got married. After this, Kaz wakes up in what I'd assume to be some kind of afterlife, an
Yeah.
in-between, purgatory. He tells Suze to kiss his kids goodbye for him, then he leaves, passing on. The game then ends with
Interesting.
Suze reading out a letter that she'd written for Kaz, in stark contrast to the angry letter at the start of the game. This one talks of her love for him and how she wants to make their relationship work. Alright, so a pretty basic but very cool
Wow.
story. But what is this thing on the rig?
Interesting that no one survives. I like that they do that, actually. I think it could be fun if there is, I think it's interesting when a game does that, where it's like, nope, everyone dies. Oh well. In this case, it was probably the thing to do, you know? It seemed like there were spores and stuff. It seemed like it was infecting people and maybe infecting Kaz the whole time. So, if he had gotten off, I feel like the game would have had to end with him infecting someone else and he's a carrier or something, even if he's not getting as infected. So it would just be apocalyptic if he got off the rig. But interesting.
Alright, so the short answer is, who knows? It's never actually explained in the game, but I don't mind that. As we saw when Kaz was on his way up to Rennick's office, they were having an issue with the drill. Well, not the drill, they'd hit something. As seen with the conversation Rennick was having, he informed the drill team to punch through whatever it was. Bad idea,
Yup.
because it quickly came up the drill pipe and started growing all over the rig. It obviously lived under the seabed. Now, I'm not sure how it managed to breach the dive bell with rafts inside it, but it was affected pretty early on. The growth, or the entity itself, seems to be getting into people's heads. These victims retain part of their personality. Trotz was still grumbling about the state of the rig, Adair was still an asshole, and Gibbo didn't want people to look at him, indicating a fear or a self-consciousness maybe.
Okay.
Touching it infects the person, and going near it causes one to have strong and particularly vivid hallucinations and visions of their life. One particular hallucination saw Kaz being tormented by either a memory or a made-up scenario of hearing Suze calling out for their missing daughters. Another thing is that it seems to be some sort of cosmic entity. It appears to be living and breathing too, judging by the heartbeat. It's probably best described as an otherworldly biomass, absorbing other human biomatter into it. And finally, it could
So
be some
gross.
sort of hive mind. Maybe because Rennick touched the stuff, the entity tried to stop them from leaving in the chopper, so it made Rennick freak out in the chopper, causing it to crash. It could also be producing spores, judging from the shot here. When
Yeah, I was thinking there are spores involved and like, but all right. Ooh, this game seems like it would have a lot of fun theorizing happening. I kind of want to watch a full Let's Play of it at some point. This seems like there's some interesting stuff.
Kaz is looking up into the legs. Other than that, I'm not sure what the entity could be, although that's kind of the beauty of the mystery. The oil rig workers drilled through it, it took over, transformed them into monsters, and there's no one alive to tell the tale. But it makes you think, what happens when someone comes and investigates?
I mean, like there's a really weird gravitational thing happening, which is very strange. The gravity is wonky. Hopefully it just is destroyed, you know? Hopefully it's just gone.
Or will the oil rig be at the bottom of the North Sea by then? And how will this change the future of oil, given that underneath the sea there's this entity just living there? Let me know what you think. But that's it for this video. Decent story, amazing atmosphere, great graphics, and top-notch voice acting make this a really enjoyable 5 or 6 hours. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like on it and subscribe if you aren't already. But for now, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
Interesting. Okay. That is interesting. I am leaving him a little like. Okay. Okay. Again, I said I kind of want to watch a Let's Play of that. That sounds like a cool game. I would not play it myself because of the aforementioned I'm terrible at video games. I think the only like game I've ever finished like on my own is BioShock. Yay. Anyway, that was interesting. So if you want to see more Gaming Harry stuff, go ahead and let me know. I thought that was cool. I enjoyed getting a little bit of actual history in that. And yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments. Let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to make sure that you're aware when we release new videos, hint, it's every single day. Then hit that subscribe button, little bell notification. All of that helps us out immensely. Thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.